Thank you very much for that warm welcome. Thank you very much. Can we give them a round of applause again? Amen. That was so nice. Today's debate is going to be happening, and two teams will be going against each other. It's going to be pitted against each other, and we have two teams. Can we have the teams go to the right position right now? Okay, so so let's give them a round of applause. Let's give them a round of applause. So please, because we are super important to deciding, who gets to win the day. So it's super important that you take note of everything that I say today. So what that means is everything I say today, we have to pay attention to it. So to my far right hand side is team. Okay.
Go in front of forward.
So to my far right hand side. To my far right-hand side is Team Transcendence, which contains Trendsetters, which contains Moyo and Ebube. And also to my left-hand side, let's give them a round of applause. To my left-hand side also as well is Team Dynamite, which contains Clinton and Aderinsola. All right, so are we ready, debaters? Are we ready? All right, let's take the stage. All right, so just a quick one for both teams, right? The main speaker has 3 minutes to make your case for argument and the logics you'll be providing, right? And also the second speaker for the second team also has 2 minutes to make rebuttals. And then also for the closing round of your opinion, you also have 2 minutes to make that, happen. Whenever the timing stops, please try and round up your argument in real quick time. So what that means is you would hear the sound when it goes off. Also as well, I want you to know that we're not using vulgar words. We should have respect towards one another. If not, your points will be deducted, right? And so now to the audience, like we said prior before, you guys will be voting in real time. So please pay attention to the very words they will be saying, the arguments they will be making, on the team. And what is the team again? Africa has more influencers than influenza. So they will be supporting the motion and they will be opposing the motion. So to go straight into it, I just have one word for you guys, for both teams, right? May the best team win. So can we have Team A?
Thank you. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ebube Udochukwu, and standing on all existing protocols, I am here to support the motion that Africa has more influencers than influenza. Now, I'll begin our argument by guiding us to get a certain picture very clear in our minds. When we talk about the idea of virality on social media, things going viral, it's important for us to understand that this is actually a borrowed concept from biology. In the context of biology, behind any viral spread are these important agents called viruses. One of the things we've learned about viruses is that their mode of operation is by getting into contact with a host, altering the behavior or pattern of that host, and then replicating themselves. Now, bringing this back to this context of social media, we know that for anything that goes viral on social media, there is a network of people. We can call them influencers. Who is an influencer? The simple dictionary definition of an influencer is someone that exerts influence on another. Now, we have this tendency of thinking of influencers as people with a large amount of followers, 10,000, 50,000, 1 million. But the truth is, there is actually no definition of an influencer that specifies an actual amount of followers that one has to have to be qualified as an influencer. Now, what does this tell us? It tells us that we actually have far more influencers than we have been aware of or than we have been acknowledging. It tells us that each and every one of us in this room are influencers in our own right. It's really just a question of whether you are an active or a passive one. Now, to the other topic on who an influencer is. The simple definition of an influenza is a disease, a flu. It's caused by influenza viruses. You would actually not find any social media definition of an influenza, technically. But of course, from the context of our conversation, we know that an influenza virus would be that fraction of the fraction of influencers that actually exert negative influence through social media. Now that I have laid this foundation, in our subsequent presentations, we would be showing you clearly that Africa as a continent, we actually have more influencers within ourselves than influencers in general. Thank you.
Can we get that heated up? Wow, that was nice. That was really nice. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so can we go to the main speaker for Team Dynamite? Thank you. Over to you.
Good morning, the organizers of Platformx, the ladies and gentlemen, the online audience. My name is Aderinsola Jolaosho, and I'm here to oppose the motion which says that Africa has more influencers than influencers. I would like to start with the story of Mr. B. I came across Mr. B on social media in the year 2017, and he was doing something that was abominable and new in Africa and in Nigeria. Mr. B was actually dressing like a lady, and nobody wanted to associate with him. In fact, parents will warn you against Mr. B. This is 2024, and today, Mr. B has over 5 million followers on Instagram only. There are two people trying to imitate Mr. B, and they also have large pools of followings. Today, they are in the University of Delta, Delsu. In the year 2023, male students did a competition in cross-dressing. Tell me what influence is if not that? Influence is making people do something that they wouldn't do without consciously doing it and agreeing to do it willingly. The concept of influence is that an influencer is somebody that makes people do something positive, while an influencer is somebody that spreads negative behaviors among people. So do we have more influencers than influencers in Africa? I'll try to use the acronym ICS to buttress my point. I for identity, C for community, and S for social proof, to show that we have more influencers than influencers in Africa. So to start with, identity. In Nigeria today and in Africa as large, we are already used to and we know what the term I identify with means. In fact, the MC talked about it, and when Pastor Tayo came, he said, I identify as Gen Z. Yes, it's good for us to identify as, which is very important, but what is the essence of who we are? Because I am is more powerful than I identify as. Secondly, looking at community, Africa is driven by community. What community? We have a culture of people doing things together, living together, united together. We have the concept of Ubuntu, which says, I am because we all are. With social media and the influence of social media, right now we are all, not all are, we are individual. It no longer takes a village to raise a child. It takes a child to raise a child, or it takes social media to raise a child. Finally, social proof. The concept of social proof was invented in 1984, and it's still obvious to today. Social proofs means that when people do not know the right behavior to behave, they conform with people, they copy others. Right now, we are raising a generation that are copying a lot of people. With this point of mine, I hope I've been able to make you see a new view, that we have more influencers than influencers.
All right, thank you very much for that. I hope you guys had a load of insight from that session. So we're going to be moving right up to the next one, and it will be Team Trendsetters who will be taking it right up on. So yes, can we have the rebuttal session? Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I stand on all existing protocols. Having heard my co-debaters speak, I would like to move on from where my teammate stopped. First and foremost, he defined to us what an influencer is and what an influenza is. Now, the question I'm here to answer for you is, does Africa have more influencers than influenza? The answer to that question is yes, and I'm going to take you on a trail that is going to lead you to the same conclusion as I have. First and foremost, we have seen Africa rise to recognition on the world stage. We saw where Burna Boy opened on the UEFA Champions League stage. We saw where Thames, Rema, Burna Boy played at the NBA All-Star Games final. We saw Davido play at the World Cup final in Qatar. That's first and foremost saying that Africa has begun to export talent on a global stage. Secondly, we have heard the Western world create sounds in music because they collaborated with African artists and gave the world a sound the world had never heard before. We heard Rema and Selena Gomez sing together, and they gave us a song where we all sing to calm down. They gave us a song, Tiwa and Brandy gave us a song, and we all talk about somebody's son. That is to tell you that Africa has also gone on the musical global stage. The other thing I'm going to say about this is that we have seen how it has become cool in recent years to be African. We have seen people that we follow on the gram who have millions of followings telling us about their ancestry report that links them back to Africa. Some are Nigerian, some are Ghanaian. We have also seen how even in the music, it has shown where some people are even claiming our gods that we don't even serve. We have also seen where the Travis Greens and the Sarah Jakes Roberts that came to Nigeria willingly received African names that we gave them. What does this tell you? It tells you that Africa now has a place in influencing the world. What does that mean? It means that the world has been influenced by us. Now, who is us? Us is every single one of us sitting here that streamed all those songs, that took them to a global stage where Burna Boy got invited. Us are the people who gave these people the African names that they now receive. I believe this tells you something. We are the influencers, and so Africa has more influencers than influenza.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for that. All right, so we're going to be moving on real quick, and we're going to be having, the rebuttal session from Team Dynamite. So can we have you?
Standing on all existing protocols, my name is Fidelis Clinton, and I here would be opposing the motion that states that Africa has more influencers than influenza. I put it to my opponent, who is elegantly looking. I mean, she has graciously spoken a lot of things. But I want to ask you one question. Out of all the people you have mentioned, how many of them would you role model your child after? So now the question still states that it is very obvious. I mean, data has proven beyond all reasonable doubt that we have large crime rates in Africa. We have a lot of that in Africa. Now, what says you again? I mean, we're influenced by what we see, we're influenced by what we hear, and we're influenced by what we engage our minds with. A lot of people here know Abido Sheka, right or wrong? Lebush Kabash. How many of that would you let your children identify with? Now, also, we have Hush Poppy. Where is he right now? A lot of our youths right now are engaging in illicit crimes. We have illegal works that are being done. Yahoo is now the order of the day. We had a situation before now where our children were engaging in things that would mentally build them. But what do we have right now? A lot of people are doing Zelle. A lot of people are doing all these things. You are having all that. So the question is, would you let your child engage in that? You wouldn't, of course. Now, guess what? It would shock you to know that Africa as a whole is number 2 in crime rates in the whole world. I mean, like, what are we doing? Should we be influencing people positively or negatively? So I leave you to ponder on that. Thank you.
Wow, this is nice. This is fire. This is fire on fire, right? This is fire on fire. Wow. Okay. So we don't give advantage to the other team. So we are going to be having the closing opinion from the same team that actually just gave the rebuttal. And mind you, you just have 2 minutes. 2 minutes, yes, for your closing opinion, closing round. Yes. Yes, Team Dynamite. Study.
Hello? Okay. So it's been a really interesting conversation, and I'd like to talk about a data from Africa No Filter that says that that examined 4,500 young Africans from 18 to 35. Now, 71% of the respondents believe that they could change the African narratives on social media. We say that culture is a mirror, a reflection of the society. The Africa that we have now, is it better than the Africa we used to have? That is the question. If the influence that we have are right, if the influence that we have are correct, how come we have vices in our society? I agree with our co-debaters that right now we have influencers which are positive in Africa. But the question of more remains, that we have more influencers with the kind of society, with the kind of vices, with the kind of crimes that we have in our environment. We agree, we can see that we have more. And for our team, it's a call to everyone in this room. That's why we have influencers in Africa, that everyone can stand up to be a voice to influence the next person. We also agree with our co-debaters that an influencer doesn't have to have large followings, meaning that every one of us, if we do our jobs well, the next person will not go into drugs. The next person will not go into prostitution. The next person will not travel for things that do not matter. So right now, as at this moment, when it comes to the question of volume, because more talks about numbers, more talks about quantity, more talks about volume. So right now in Africa, we have more influencers. But you and I can do something to change that narrative. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Aderisola. Thank you so much. All right, so can we have you?
Thank you to our co-debaters. You have made some very salient points. But I'd like to pick on a few things that they said. First and foremost, the first speaker mentioned Mr. B. The second speaker also went and mentioned Hush Puppy and Abido Shaker. Now, I want to ask you a question. If I go to the ocean right now and I pick up 1 grain of sand that is bad, does that mean that every single grain of sand on the ocean is bad? This is to tell you that the fact there are some influencers in Africa does not mean that there are more influencers than there are influencers. Because if that were the case, I don't believe that every single one of you here right now will be seated in this hall. Because we all came here today to have a conversation with influencers about the influence they have had on us. If it's true that there's a lot of crime rate in Africa right now, but is anybody here sitting down a criminal? It is true that right now there are a lot of people modeling after Mr. B in Delta University. But right now in this hall, is anybody cross-dressing? Okay, so this is just to show us that if in a sample of young people in Nigeria today, we have sitting in this hall hundreds of people, and not one is cross-dressing, not one is a criminal, then I present to you still that Africa has more influencers than influencers. Thank you.
All right. That was a quick wrap. She even had extra time. That was really lovely. Okay, all right. So can we have on the screen the question? All right. So if you have not yet scanned the QR code, you want to do that right now, right? That allows you to be able to interact. That allows you to be able to vote at this point in time, right? So please scan the QR code, and then we can move on ahead with that. Okay, so can we have the submission code live?
Please, can we have the QR code once again?
Can we have the QR code once again? So
more people are in the room that didn't get the QR code earlier. Thank you. Okay, can we give it up for our debaters, ladies and gentlemen? No, now, come on. Come on. You know, as we debate about Africa, I remember a poem I learned in primary school. Africa, my Africa. Africa of proud warriors in ancestral savannas. Africa of whom my grandmother sings at the bank of the distant river. I have never known thee, but your blood flows in my vein, your beautiful black blood that irrigates the field. the blood of your sweat, the sweat of your toil, the toil of your slavery, the slavery of your children. Africa, tell me, Africa, is this you, this back that is bent? This back that break under the weight of the midday sun? I can go on and on, but please. Ladies and gentlemen, does Africa have more influencers than influenza? We're about to find out, and you are the judges. Let's fix it. Okay. This is Trendsetters, right?
Yes.
And
This is Dynamite.
Dynamite. But were they dynamic? Were they explosive? Please, when are we closing the voting? Is the voting closed now? We have more minutes. You are still voting. Did they set the trend? Did they set the trend or follow the trend? Were they ahead of the curve? No, wait. I didn't say anything. I will not allow you to. Come on, guys. Give it up for them, ladies and gentlemen. I need to know when the votes will close. Wow. So this is the beautiful. I see their hearts going gig. And there's just, I don't know. But ladies and gentlemen, while all of that is going on, I can tell you for a fact that we have our speakers in the room. And they are influencers! Ladies and gentlemen, is Tunde Onakoya an influencer or what? Is our delectable J Booms an influencer or what? And of course, is Mr. Dr. Energy Man, Dr. Four, an influencer or what? I think they will answer the question that these debates that we have started. But then again, back to our slides, I want to announce the winner. Winning from behind. You are the INEC, it's not me. With 46.719, no, 71%. Winning from behind. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the Trendsetters. Well, no, but please appreciate them all. You see, the influencers are clapping for you. And our winner, so you people are bad influences. Because if you support influencer, I'm joking, man. But please give it up for them. They made articulate and very damaging accounts of, please give it up for the Dynamite. Take a bow. Guys, come take a bow. Take a bow. Take a bow. So, as a lady, you was genuflex and hand, and you take a bow. But did you plan this dressing? All right. Please give it up for our debaters. Thank you. Please go down.